How did you get started, Jodi? I know you've been around business and business coaching for quite a while.
Yes.
In fact, that's how I met you.
Yes, and that's, as I got started, I was writing blogs for my website, and I had friends who started podcasts, and not many people were podcasting, and I had done a couple of radio shows and got feedback that I had a great voice, people enjoyed listening to me, so the pressure started building from the people around me that you need to have a podcast, and eventually I took the leap.
Oh, good.
In terms of podcasts, definitely, I mean, they're stories as well. I do interviews and I do topical episodes where it's just me talking, and definitely the format of my podcast is to get my guests to tell their stories and share it so that the people who are listening can relate to it, so they become engaged, so they can see themselves in my guests, and it gives me an opportunity to sometimes do a little bit of coaching or exploring with my guests, so then they get a better feel for me as a coach as well.
What kind of success have you experienced with your podcast? And it's kind of going down a little bit different road than what Allison was talking about, but I think it's important for people to understand how good content can really help grow their business and see some stats. And you've had some really great success with it on a huge level that I'd love to have you share with our audience.
And on different levels as well. It definitely has brought more clients into my business, but from a business evolution standpoint, the podcast evolved my business because I started drawing to me women who were absolutely my ideal client, and I didn't know it until they started showing up in numbers, and I went, this is my ideal client. Like when you start a business, you have an idea of like, I want to serve these people and do this type of work, but it's very general, and the longer you're in business, the more you niche down, and my podcast helped me to realize, like, I don't want to just work with women leaders and women entrepreneurs, I want to work with type A. Women leaders and women entrepreneurs. And so, but it was through the podcast that they started revealing themselves. So then I shifted my content. So there was a little bit of strategy involved in that, but it was strategy going with the flow. And so I started focusing my content on the tendencies of type A women and their strengths and their struggles. And the more I focused on my community and who was showing up, the more the podcast has grown, the more clients I've gotten, and it goes from there.
Didn't your podcast win an award recently?
Well, it was
recognized.
It was featured in Entrepreneur magazine as well. I myself as one of 24. I forget the exact title, like women podcast hosts to watch in 2017. Yes.
So it's nice to be recognized, but all your efforts is because you've put the strategy together, you're reaching the right people, and you're doing the right content that they want to listen to.
Yeah, it really is a dedication to good content, to be striving for that no matter what. And does it take work? When you were saying that, Allison, absolutely. And I think sometimes that's the barrier to entry for podcasts especially, or why people don't have the longevity in podcasts is because it does take a lot of work. But if you are committed to it, if you consistently put out great content, you will find that over time, it grows exponentially.
Right. And one of the stats that I have here is podcast listening grew 23% between 2015 and 2016, so I know that's escalated since then. 64% of podcasts are listened to on a smartphone or a tablet, which is interesting. People are doing this on the go. 21% of Americans aged 12 and older say they've listened to a podcast. Of course, that's not your market, but that just shows that how many people have actually listened to podcasts. So podcasts are a really valuable, viable way of reaching potential customers.
Yes, they're easier to access sometimes than blogs or videos because you can listen to podcasts while you're in the shower, while you're getting ready for the day, while you're in the car, while you're out for your run. And you can certainly listen to a video when you're out and about, but the podcast is focused on the audio content typically, and so it's easier for the listener to take in the content.